It's been 12 long years since my world was turned upside down emotionally. Looking back now, I can't help but notice the stark evolution in my tone and attitude over that time. I vividly recall the days when my partner and I shared an almost flawless marriage. We met in college, fell head over heels in love, and soon after graduation took the plunge into matrimony. I was the sports enthusiast, splitting my time between football and baseball, while she radiated with both beauty and intellect. Together, we were an unstoppable force, navigating life's challenges with unwavering unity. From family tragedies to health scares, including her courageous battle with cancer and my own heart condition, we faced it all hand in hand. Our bond only grew stronger as our careers flourished, and we upgraded our homes, creating a haven for our family within the same school district. Our shared dreams took tangible form in a cherished lake house, where we built lasting memories with our children. Amidst the hustle and bustle of our lives, we remained steadfast in our commitment to each other and our shared future. Planning for our children's education and achieving financial stability became our joint mission, solidifying our foundation as a family. Despite occasional disagreements, we approached them with grace and respect, always prioritizing our love above all else. Looking back, I realize our happiness was a testament to the dedication and hard work we poured into our relationship. Our love grew richer with each passing day, a bond that neither time nor trials could weaken. Our children, a son and daughter, born 2 years apart, brought boundless joy and light into our lives. As they blossomed into adulthood, our pride in their accomplishments knew no bounds. Our son's athletic prowess mirrored mine, leading to a baseball scholarship that filled us with pride. Meanwhile, our daughter's talents in choir and cheerleading showcased her vibrant spirit and determination, adding to the tapestry of our family's legacy. She exhibited remarkable maturity and composure, consistently filling us with pride. As a father, my daughter's special bond with me was invaluable. She had always been known as Daddy's girl. However, as she entered her teenage years, our relationship began to wane. She distanced herself from me, and despite my best efforts, I couldn't bridge the gap between us. It was a trying time, but I held on to the belief that deep down, she still loved me. Thankfully, this difficult phase didn't last indefinitely. Over time, our relationship gradually healed, and we once again found closeness. The pride I felt as she approached the end of her high school journey was indescribable. Our reconnection felt like a storybook ending, but behind the scenes, I was pulling out all the stops. I showered her with affection, sought new ways to bond, and even made efforts to improve my appearance in hopes of rekindling her admiration. Yet, despite my efforts, the distance between us seemed to grow. As my spouse grew increasingly distant, I couldn't shake the sense of impending doom. When she finally expressed her desire for a divorce, it felt like the ground crumbled beneath me. The shock and confusion were overwhelming, not just for me but for our children too. I could feel the weight of my anguish in every word I spoke, a testament to the depth of my despair. Losing someone so integral to my life was a pain beyond words, accompanied by the fear of an uncertain future. One fateful night, I summoned the courage to confront my wife. Despite her initial dismissal, I persisted until she finally opened up. The truth came tumbling out. She had been feeling disconnected from me for some time, questioning the happiness of our marriage. It was a revelation that shattered me, plunging me into a sea of uncertainty and heartache. I stood there, stunned. The revelation hit me like a freight train. I had no inkling that my wife harbored such feelings. I reached out, desperate to know how I could mend what was broken, but she was at a loss herself. All she knew was that something had to change. In the weeks that followed, I threw myself into the task of rekindling the flame that once burned brightly between us. I orchestrated romantic evenings, surprised her with tokens of affection, and made a conscious effort to truly hear her when she spoke. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, I began to see a glimmer of response from her, like a tiny flame flickering to life in the darkness. Yet despite my best efforts, the chasm between us only seemed to widen. Each day brought with it a fresh wave of despair, my heart breaking a little more with each passing moment. I felt utterly helpless, like a sailor caught in a storm without a compass. The realization that I couldn't even bring myself to ask her if she still loved me underscored just how far apart we had drifted. It wasn't until a chance encounter with her best friend over coffee that the truth began to sink in, that someone else may have played a role in driving us apart. Even then, I clung to a fragile thread of denial, unwilling to confront the harsh reality. As the days wore on, I found myself plagued by a host of physical and emotional symptoms: a loss of appetite, restless nights spent tossing and turning, and an unrelenting tide of tears. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of anguish, unable to find solid ground to stand on. And yet, amidst the darkness, there was a flicker of light, a small beacon of solace in the form of my faithful canine companion. As I lay on the floor, gazing up at the ceiling with my dog's head nestled against my chest, I found a measure of comfort in his silent companionship. It was abundantly clear that I loved my wife with a depth that words could not express, and I would have moved mountains to save our marriage. But as the days stretched into weeks and the weeks into months, it became painfully apparent that our love alone was not enough to bridge the chasm that had opened up between us. Our story unfolded like a tragic tale, a story of lost love, shattered dreams, and a man left to grapple with the shattered fragments of his heart. And as I reflected on my journey, I couldn't help but feel a surge of compassion for myself, for the pain and loss that I had endured, and for the daunting road that lay ahead. I struggled to reconnect with her, to mend our bond. Divorce became an inevitable and bitter reality, one I was unwilling to accept fully. The thought of losing her entirely, even as a friend, was devastating. Feeling inadequate as a spouse, unable to meet her needs and incapable of preserving our marriage, the pain persisted. Yet, despite it all, we remained amicable and respectful throughout, resolved to avoid inflicting more hurt. Dividing our possessions was a bittersweet experience. Together, we had worked diligently to create a life we could both take pride in, and now it was being dismantled and sold. The memories formed in those two residences would forever be a part of me, but the idea of returning without her was intolerable. The finality of signing the divorce papers was gut-wrenching. I could see the tears in her eyes, and I knew she was hurting just as much as I was. It felt like a final goodbye, as if a piece of my heart was being ripped out. The pain of losing a long-term partner is enduring, leaving a scar that time may soften but will always remain. Amid the hurt and heartbreak, I hold on to the good times we shared and the love we once had for each other, finding some comfort in the bittersweet reality of watching our daughter grow up and get married. As I sat there, surrounded by the people I love, a sense of melancholy crept up on me. My daughter, my little girl, was embarking on a new chapter in her life. It was a joyous occasion, of course, but I couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness deep within my heart. Then, a magical occurrence unfolded. My daughter took a seat beside me, her head resting on my shoulder, and we engaged in conversation, laughter, and reminiscence about old times. The moment was etched in my memory, one I knew would remain forever cherished. As we savored our scotch, captivated by the dancing flames of the fireplace, a profound sense of gratitude swept over me. Gratefulness enveloped my being for my daughter and her fiancé, for the unwavering support of family and friends, and for the enduring love that encircled me. Despite the ongoing process of healing from my divorce, I acknowledged the imperative to continue forging ahead, seeking solace wherever it could be found. Yet, in that tranquil moment, cocooned by the warmth of the fire and the embrace of loved ones, contentment enveloped me. I harbored the unwavering belief that all would eventually be well, fortified by the unwavering support and affection of those nearest and dearest to me. As our conversation neared its end, my daughter and I ventured into more profound territory, delving into the emotional ramifications of the divorce. It was a topic we had skirted around previously, addressing only practicalities. However, this time, we delved deeper, exploring the intricacies of our shared experiences. I summoned the courage to inquire of my daughter, now a mature adult, about her perception of our life together, acknowledging my fallibility as a parent. It was a delicate question, yet one that begged to be asked in the aftermath of the divorce. To my astonishment, my daughter opened up, revealing her thoughts and feelings with candor. She spoke of the challenges of living up to my expectations, of the fear of disappointing me, yet also of the profound love and protection she felt emanating from me. Her recollections were interspersed with laughter, reminiscing about light-hearted moments from the past when my paternal role earned me the affectionate moniker of Sergeant Dad, or simply the Sergeant. I admitted to my shortcomings in emotional expression, reassuring her of the depth of my affection, even when not overtly articulated. It was then that my daughter shared a revelation that left me dumbfounded. She expressed her hopes for her own future, wishing for a partner who emulated the qualities she admired in me, a loving husband and father. Yet, in the same breath, she voiced a desire for my happiness, free from the betrayal that had marred my marriage. It was a moment of profound realization. My daughter's assumption that I had been aware of my ex-wife's infidelity all along cast a stark light on our past. Her silence on the matter, born of a belief in my knowledge, served as a testament to her love and concern for my well-being amidst the turmoil of divorce. I held her close, overwhelmed with gratitude for her unwavering support. She would forever be my cherished daughter. In the quiet aftermath of our conversation, I sought to understand the timeline of events surrounding my ex-wife's betrayal, guided by my daughter's insights. Though the details remained uncertain, her revelation shed light on the emotional landscape preceding our divorce, a period fraught with uncertainty and turmoil. I inquired about my son's awareness, and she confirmed his knowledge. Surprisingly, he had conducted some social media sleuthing and harbored suspicions of potential infidelity. It suddenly clicked: my children's distant demeanor towards their mother and their empathy towards me became clearer. As I embraced my daughter tightly, I expressed gratitude for her honesty and unwavering affection. In that tumultuous moment, she became my anchor, the one steadfast certainty in my life. Holding her close, I made a silent vow to remain resilient, not just for her but also for my son. They were my sole reasons for pushing forward. The revelation of my ex-wife's infidelity triggered seismic shifts, altering my perception of her, myself, and the world around me. It felt as though a part of my essence had withered away, leaving me adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Yet, I understood the imperative to forge ahead, even if progress was measured in small steps. The night her affair came to light marked a turning point. Previously, I had strived for amicable proceedings during our divorce, but now, my actions were clouded by turmoil and doubt. Upon reflection, I noticed subtle changes in her behavior: an increase in self-care, frequent salon visits, and a renewed focus on appearance. Initially, I attributed these to professional pressures, but now, I realized they likely signaled her preparation for the affair. The truth was undeniable. My ex-wife had found solace in another man, plunging me into an abyss of rejection and betrayal. Viewing the other man's social media profiles only intensified the pain, despite his physical appearance not matching mine. Witnessing my ex-wife's involvement with someone else inflicted wounds deeper than I had ever known. Driven by a tumultuous mix of anger and hurt, I succumbed to a moment of recklessness, breaking into her home with the intent to wreak havoc. Destroying her possessions, defacing family photographs, and desecrating her personal space became a desperate attempt to inflict upon her the same agony and betrayal I had endured. Upon discovering my ex-wife's infidelity and experiencing a destructive outburst, she unexpectedly appeared before me. I had anticipated outrage and a call to authorities, yet her gaze held a mix of sadness and pity. Her reaction caught me off guard. Instead of the anger and bitterness I had braced for, she approached with compassion and understanding. She sought forgiveness, admitting to her betrayal during our divorce proceedings. In that moment, my anger waned as I realized the depth of her own suffering and the unintended pain my actions had caused. A week later, my daughter's wedding arrived, and both my ex-wife and I attended. Despite lingering feelings of hurt and anger, I endeavored to focus on the joyous occasion. Struggling with the weight of stress and intensified workouts, I nonetheless felt a sense of pride as I escorted my daughter down the aisle. Throughout the ceremony, my ex-wife exuded elegance, donning attire she knew I favored. Yet, I maintained my distance, refraining from any gestures of reconciliation. As the reception commenced, I sought solace in the prearranged seating, choosing to sit beside my daughter. My ex-wife occupied a separate space, her presence undoubtedly tinged with discomfort. I doubted she realized I was aware of her affair. During poignant moments such as the father of the bride toast and dance, I consciously omitted any reference to her, preserving the sanctity of the occasion. The remainder of the evening was spent in celebration, surrounded by the love of my family and the newfound joy of my daughter's union. Despite my ex-wife's presence, I navigated the festivities with grace, purposefully avoiding any interaction with her. Her departure, unnoticed by me, likely mirrored the melancholy that colored her every appearance throughout the event. Though it was a challenging experience, It taught me valuable lessons about resilience and self-discovery. While I may not look back on it as my finest hour, I believe I took necessary steps to protect my emotional well-being. It was a bitter pill to swallow when, after over 28 years together, she chose someone else during a difficult period in my life. However, I have made significant progress since then, just as my counselor predicted. Adapting to life alone and rediscovering my purpose was not easy, but the pain has gradually faded. Instead, I poured my energy into creating a home that truly reflects who I am. I transformed my house into a sanctuary, making room for my passions. For years, I longed for a Harley Softail with a deuce seat, but my ex-wife opposed the idea. Now, with a space in the garage for it, I enjoy the freedom to ride whenever I please. Upgrading my kitchen and living areas was a delight, but the true gem remains my man cave in the basement. It's equipped with a top-of-the-line sound system, video facilities, a wet bar, and a quality gym, everything I need to unwind and enjoy my favorite music, something my ex never allowed me to do loudly. My house has become the gathering place for game days, resembling a sports bar where friends and family come together to watch multiple games simultaneously. I even created a playroom for my grandkids, where we share precious moments and create lasting memories. Recently, we had a delightful pumpkin carving party, a joyous occasion my ex would have appreciated. I'm even considering getting another dog for companionship, especially with the grandkids around. Additionally, I installed a remote wood-burning furnace, using my own timber to efficiently heat my home during colder months, keeping me active and connected to nature. In conclusion, despite the painful past, I am grateful for the opportunity to rebuild my life and create a home I love. I've discovered new passions, cherished time with loved ones, and forged enduring memories. 12 years have passed since my ex-wife's departure, and I've come to accept her choice, embracing the journey of self-reinvention. I transformed my home into an ideal retreat, adding an extra garage bay for my new Harley Softail and ATV. Modern upgrades graced the kitchen and living areas, while the basement evolved into my personal haven, a man cave complete with top-notch entertainment, a wet bar, and a gym. Additionally, I dedicated a special playroom for my grandkids, furnished with toys and a TV, making hosting events like our recent pumpkin carving party a joy. I'm even contemplating adding another dog to the mix for companionship. Regarding my romantic life, I found enjoyment in the single life and re-entering the dating scene. Initially hesitant, I eventually yielded to a double date urged by my kids nearly 2 years later. Dating in my 50s and early 60s presents new dynamics. There are plenty of smart, attractive, unattached women my age and younger seeking attention from a relatively healthy man. I've learned that being respectful, attentive, confident, and, most importantly, fun is key. I'm transparent about not seeking a wife or an exclusive relationship, exercising caution and selectivity, avoiding entanglements with married women or pursuing fleeting encounters. It took time to adjust to the idea of non-exclusivity and resist feelings of jealousy or possessiveness. I've come to realize that I can't control my partner's actions, and that's perfectly fine. Dating without the pressure of exclusivity has been refreshing for both me and my companions. If a deeper connection naturally develops, that's wonderful, but I never pressure or manipulate them into it. I have a couple of longtime lady friends with whom I've never been romantically involved, and that's perfectly okay. Overall, the journey of rediscovering myself and navigating the complexities of dating in later years has been an enriching experience. I've been embracing life to the fullest, cherishing the experiences and people it brings. As a longtime private pilot, flying my own small experimental plane has been a source of joy for me. Regrettably, my wife never shared my passion for aviation. To bridge this gap, I've invited each of my lady friends to join me for fly-ins and short trips. I've even taken them on Harley rides for breakfast or lunch outings, a popular tradition known as the $100 hamburger. Each of these remarkable women has her own interests, and I've made an effort to participate in them as well. Whether it's climbing Mount Baker, earning my Professional Association of Diving Instructors open water dive certificate, or skydiving in tandem, I've embraced new adventures alongside them. Surprisingly, I found myself enjoying attending the opera with one of them. However, One of my most memorable experiences was crashing wedding parties at city parks, mingling with guests, and contributing to the festivities. Despite spending a significant amount of time with these women, more often than not, I find myself alone at home or enjoying quiet moments with one of them, watching Netflix or listening to her favorite music. These women have encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone and experience things I never would have on my own. While I still wrestle with the desire for exclusivity, especially with one particular woman who seems to tick all the boxes, I remind myself that I cannot allow myself to think that way. Before the onset of COVID-19, I embarked on a 7-day cruise with 3 attractive women, only one of whom I had previously dated. Despite the initial uncertainty, we had a fantastic time, exploring day excursions and dancing the nights away on the ship. It was perhaps one of the best vacations of my life, reminiscent of memorable trips with our preteen kids. Although my ex-wife's relationship with the other man lasted for about 3 years, I refrained from delving into the specifics or inquiring about their current living situation. It's simply not my concern anymore. While I've maintained communication with her over the past 5 years, our interactions mainly revolve around sharing updates and photos of our kids and grandkids. While she expresses a willingness to discuss the divorce and the affair, I've chosen not to dwell on the past. I opt not to delve into those specifics, as I perceive no utility in doing so. Hence, I simply disregard those particular emails. Our interactions have been limited to occasions such as weddings and funerals, during which we exchange courteous greetings. The last face-to-face conversation we had took place at the christening of our newest grandson. Despite her appearance showing signs of aging, she still possessed an allure. We spent over 2 hours conversing about the grandchildren and reminiscing about cherished memories. Although I occasionally mourn the termination of my marriage, these undeniably constitute the golden years. The duration of this phase remains uncertain, but my ex-wife and I have recently pledged to provide mutual support as we age. She is the mother of my children and the grandmother of my grandchildren. We were married for 28 years. We've even executed HIPAA and medical directive forms for each other. Though we are no longer romantically involved, my daughter has noted a marked increase in my contentment and affability, which I attribute to my retirement last year. The liberation from workplace stressors and office politics has significantly influenced my daily disposition. Truly, these are the golden years, and I am grateful for this newfound liberation. On occasion, I still lament the conclusion of my marriage, particularly when faced with old photographs or locations that evoke memories of our shared past. Recently, my ex-wife has extended invitations for dinner at her condominium or for a date, a topic my daughter has raised several times. Interestingly, my ex-wife is not romantically involved with anyone and has not been for years, prompting speculation about the underlying purpose of her sudden interest in my social life. While I am intrigued, I approach the situation cautiously. I am unsure whether there is a concerted effort against me, but I place trust in my daughter's intentions, confident that she would not permit me to be hurt again. Regardless, I am content with my current circumstances, whether single or in a relationship. I cherished my married life with my wife and now value the freedom of my single life. Whatever the future holds, life continues, and I am assured that I will not be alone in my old age, irrespective of whether I reconcile with my ex-partner.